From Relay, this is Connected, episode 521. Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace, ExpressVPN, and KRCS. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mr. Federico Vitici, and I'm so happy to be joined by Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Mr. Federico Vitici.
I like calling myself a Mr.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Nice.
You're kind of the man of the hour today. We're going to talk about that. Your
Am I?
big iPhone story. We'll get to that.
Well, I'm the man of the year. So
wow.
You know.
Well, technically, I think our next host, the Ricky Benchman, is the man of the year.
Yes.
Ricky Benchman and Mike Hurley, welcome to the program.
I'm the man of the year and also the man of this current period until there's an Apple event.
The man of this period.
Yes, but I'm both year and period, remember, because I have the annual and keynote, hence Benchman.
Right. You're a man of many time frames, I guess.
Me.
Yeah.
And Relay co-founder champion and draft champion.
Right.
Jeez.
Right. Very
I'm having a
humble.
winning year.
And St. Jude Content Creator of the Year. But we share that.
We do share that. We do. But I still am it, you know?
Yeah.
And you're also our friend. So,
Which is the best honor of all.
There's also that.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a good mood today. I had my tea. I had some tea today before the show instead of coffee. It's nice.
We also spilled the tea in the Pro Show. GetConnectedPro.co. If you want to hear Stephen explain to me and Federico all of the drama around WordPress, go there. And if you want to hear mine and Federico's immediate takes to that drama, also GetConnectedPro.co.
It's good. I, in honor of the Meta Orion headset, am drinking a smoothie. AI did not tell me how to make it.
Okay. I was struggling to understand the reference, but then I got it.
It's a little demo joke for y'all. We'll get to that later, but first, we have follow-up. Anthony asks, a week in, what photographic styles are you using on your new phones?
Okay. By default, standard tone set to minus 0.5, although I like editing after the fact a lot. And so for a bunch of pictures, I gravitate toward amber or gold as the style. But it depends on the photo. So when I shoot in standard with minus 0.5 for tone. Some photos I like to change to amber or gold.
I'm using natural with no additional adjustments.
Natural?
Yeah.
No, that's a choice. Okay.
It's a little cooler than standard and a little flatter. Like you, I don't love it on all photos. And I've definitely been tinkering with it. And if you've got a Mac with Sequoia, jeez. If you have a Mac with Sequoia on it, you can edit those on the Mac. The same like UI shows up. I do like gold and amber as well for some stuff, but natural so far has been my go-to.
I absolutely have not internalized the macOS name.
Sequoia.
The two S's in a row.
Genuinely, you just said it. I forgot it by the end of my sentence.
Sequoia.
I couldn't remember what it was.
Sequoia.
I will just not. I just figure I just won't learn it.
Just call it macOS.
Just let it go. Just macOS.
They should go back. They should go back to animals. They should do dogs for the next macOS.
Remember
release.
those. Everybody knows what a dog is. You know.
Yeah. Snow retriever is the best one.
macOS dog.
macOS beagle.
macOS.
That's what I want.
macOS good boy.
Dog. I want macOS monkey. macOS giraffe. You know.
Give me macOS monkey like right now. I need macOS monkey. Yes.
macOS elephant. You know, like that's what I want. I want to go real like, and the macOS says moo. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Incredible.
I use gold, the photographic style gold. I don't have yet like a standard adjustment. I've been kind of like adjusting the images within the gold preset kind of where needed because for just taking photos of objects, I like it kind of regular, but for taking photos of people, I kind of dial down the tone a little bit. So I may settle on a number, but I just haven't dialed it in yet. If you want a bit more information about this and some good kind of like presets, Tyler Sorman's iPhone 16 photographer's review video is really, really good. I'm like halfway through it, but Tyler does a great job of explaining photographic styles.
He killed it
kind of
this
showing
year.
us all. Yeah, he just knows what he's talking about, you know. And he does a good job of showing that.
You know, he's a lot taller than you would think. He's really
Very
tall.
handsome, though.
Well, Mike
Really
believes
very
that.
handsome.
I mean, Mike knows
Yeah.
he's taller, but
Yeah, I mean, I have met him, and I genuinely don't remember how tall he is, but just assume that I'm looking up at him, which
Yeah.
says a lot about Tyler, I guess.
he and I went for a walk one year at WWDC for like an hour and just talked about life, and it was very enjoyable.
Yep, good dude.
Jonathan wrote in about the Apple Watch speaker. Jonathan has some words for us. I was disappointed not to hear follow-up from my favorite shower speaker podcasters on how audio on the Apple Watch performed while lathered up. So I went into the field to test this for myself. Okay, first of all, Jonathan, you don't shower in a field. Shower in a shower.
Steven, come on.
Here are my findings.
We're better than this.
Here are my findings. Unfortunately, the audio works okay when washing your hair. Water immediately gets in the speaker holes, muffling the audio and making it impossible to hear when not near your ears. This is extremely problematic when washing in my average length thighs.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. Cool.
I wouldn't have bothered to try it because I would have known this would have happened, you know?
Yeah,
like if you take your phone in the shower and any water gets on it, it's like that happens very quickly. So you kind of got to get the phone out of the way of the water. The watch is on your wrist. It can't be more in the way of the water, you know?
Still, though, I appreciate how this follow-up was sent. Clearly, Jonathan knows how to, all the references, the thighs,
I also like that they just did it rather than asking us to do it. You know?
Or,
the best follow-up is where you've already done the work and you just tell us what happened.
This is how you do it. This is how do the work for us and then send us the follow-up.
Send us the follow-up.
Well done, Jonathan. Well done.
Well done. Don't shower in a field.
Steven.
That's not what
it's pretty good.
No, it really isn't.
No.
If you have to say a joke twice,
we get it. We get it. Please clap.
Please stop. Speaking of Jonathan.
Yes.
Let's now defend Jonathan, but a different one.
A different one. So I, back in the spring, wrote this blog post. We talked about it. About the Jonathan, this weird concept computer from the 80s at Apple that was a bunch of modules you stuck together, like physical, like book-sized modules. And that blog post did very well. It's one of the only a handful of blog posts about the computer on the internet. I did a bunch of research. So I get an email last week from a reader named Jeff, whose uncle worked at Apple, did a bunch of stuff at Apple, and was involved on the Jonathan project. And his uncle, whose name was Tom Toteman, wrote a memo to John Sculley, Apple CEO, trying to save the project when it was going to be canceled. And he sent me a copy of the memo, and I republished it. So I'm #leaking now. Internal Apple memos from the 80s. And it's just fascinating to see this little glimpse into this story. The project seems to have been further along than I think anybody else thought. Like they had packaging materials ready to go. I don't think you do that just for a prototype. So now I'm wondering, like, is there one of these out there somewhere? Is there someone has a Jonathan in their attic? I don't know. Hit me up.
Somebody at least made a model.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah, because they're photos of a model.
Oh, of course, that's not a render. They didn't have renders back then.
Yeah. The photo in this blog post is of a mock-up, and then in the original blog post, I had renders.
Like $1 billion to render in the 80s.
Yeah. So yeah, just super interesting. I just want to point one thing out. This memo is incredible. But in a section called "Obvious Non-Obsolescence," he wrote, "This design, quote, and all capital letters, removes the fear that this computer will be obsolete next year." Removes the fear. Pretty good.
This person definitely had skin in the Jonathan game.
It seems like it, yeah.
So on last week's show, we spoke a little bit about Federico switching to the iPhone 16 Plus. I don't know why that name, I still got stuck on that one too. But Federico, you wrote an article about your experience of switching to the Plus. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on about it on the show? Or do you just say to people, go read the article, which they should also do anyway?
No, I mean, yeah, people should read the article.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel like it's been going really well, and in a way that I was not expecting to sort of have so much fun with the 16 Plus, because I sort of, I mean, let's face it, I kind of ignored uh, this part of the iPhone lineup for the past few years, just because I always got the Pro Max, and it's a fun experiment. And I could tell that, like we spoke about this last week, I could tell that something sort of felt off about the Pro Max for me this year, or maybe I just had this thought in my mind, and I ordered the Pro Max, but that idea never left my brain. Basically,
Yeah.
that like actually you should go with the 16 Plus, um, and yeah, just the idea that yes, I'm missing some features, but not to the extent that I thought I would. And this is something that happens. Something that I notice is that, um, especially if you are very online, right? As we all tend to be, um, there's this part of the discourse in the Apple sphere of Mastodon and Threads that you should get the Pro Max, you should get the iPhone, the Pro or the Pro Max. Everything else is for quote unquote normal people, and we are not normal people. And
I mean, we're definitely not normal people. I mean, I know what you're
Right.
saying, but yeah,
Right.
maybe in a
but-
different way.
but why? But why though? Like, and or I guess, can we not be right? Like, this is one of like an idea that I touch upon in the story, where like this sort of expectation that some people have, but it's as I wrote, like it's also something that I had for myself, like something that I convinced myself that I had to do. Like, always get the absolute best. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be getting iPad Pro, the best Apple Watch, the best AirPods, and the best iPhone. Like, there's an expectation, because I've seen comments from people like, oh, those phones are like for my mom, which is a typical argument. And but like, we, the people who really care about Apple, we get the Pro and the Pro Max. And I feel like I've realized that, like, there was a bunch of things when I was watching the keynote, just all those announcements sort of glossing over, just, and being bored by seeing some of the advanced features, knowing that I would never take advantage of those myself, even though I recognize that they are essential for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought of having a phone that, when I look at it, it's not the same old boring thing. I don't know. Those ideas stuck in my brain, and eventually I followed through, and I'm absolutely loving the 16 Plus. So, yeah, that's the gist of the story, really. It's a good phone. It'll probably get discontinued next year, but in thinking about it, like, I think it'll be a useful experiment not to use a Pro for a year, because if they really do come out with an iPhone Air that is not a Pro but has the brand new design, and maybe trades some of the more advanced specs for a much slimmer profile and a brand new design language, then it's gonna be useful to having used the 16 Plus for a year.
Is it not true that Apple sells more Pro phones than regular phones?
I don't know. Is it?
Maybe. I know they make more money from it, but I don't know. I feel like it depends year to year. But anyway, I'm not trying to argue with you. I find the points that you bring up in the article interesting. I mean, naturally, I bristle at it, right? Because I am someone who wants the Pro phone. And I do believe that buying the Pro phone is the best for what I'm doing, like from a content perspective, not just because I also want it. But I don't disagree with where you're coming from. Like there shouldn't be a requirement that is the phone that you use because of what you do. Like you mentioned, and you mentioned this is like invisible social contract that we have to buy the best thing, which is a weird thing to have, right? Like if you feel such a thing, it is a weird thing to have.
Yeah.
It's a well-formed idea. I don't think that it, I don't think it applies to everyone. I don't think it applies to me. Like I buy the phone that I want. Like if I wasn't doing this for a living, I would still be buying the Pro phone because I want the best phone. Like it's what I want, and by best I mean quote unquote most features. I just want all of the features because that's what I like to have. But it's a well-formed idea that I find interesting. I will be intrigued to see where you go from here. So I will be intrigued. Like, do you last the whole year? I'm not saying you wouldn't, but I'm intrigued. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like you're feeling good about it right now, which I understand. You should. It looks fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's like and while it's like right now, you're like these features are all the things that I've got I want, and the things that I don't have I don't want. And I get all of that. It would just be intriguing to me to see like, do you go the full time, and then what is your choice next time?
Oh, if they really do the iPhone Air, that's gonna be what I get.
It's probably, I would expect that's the phone we all buy.
Yeah, I think so.
In that scenario, just because it will be, but this is going back to the original thing, like this, it will be the interesting one. It will be the one to talk about. So like, I actually do see that scenario that you're referencing, right? If it comes around to next year and they have this phone, which is just like dramatically different from a content creation perspective, that's probably the one to buy, right? Because it's going to be the one in which I can have the most interesting things to say. And like similarly, like even if we're like 6 layers down through the stack now, there might be a part of your brain, Federico, that wanted the Plus because you can tell, like in your mind, you can tell and communicate more interesting stories by having this phone than having the Pro phone.
Oh yeah, I feel like the for the kind of work that I do. So if you look at the different segments of my work, right?
Yeah.
The iPad has never been boring because, like it or not, there's always been drama.
Yeah.
So it's never been samey. It's always been something. The tragedy and the victory, the drama. It's like watching a soap opera. The Apple Watch has been also interesting because, like, it was the Apple Watch, then they got bigger, then they did the Ultra, and then they did the Ultra 2, which was also kind of weird. Like, it's never been boring. The iPhone has been, like, an incredible product, but especially the whole run from 11 Pro Max to 15 and 16 Pro Max has been kind of samey year after year, right?
Oh, but we've been here before. Don't forget, like, 6 to 10.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Because I just think this is the kind of product that is like really hard for them to be daring with.
Yeah. And I feel like there's nothing bad. So I guess this is the other idea of the story. This stigma against the base model iPhones. And where I'm coming from is there's nothing bad in prioritizing a product that makes you happy for reasons that are not your typical tech blog post, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a product makes you happy because it's blue and because you look at it and you're like, oh, that's hot, right? That's probably not something that you would typically find on a tech publication.
Yeah.
But whatever, like if it makes me feel good, and if I'm willing to sacrifice some features intentionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give them up, because overall using this product is more fun and therefore makes me feel better and therefore contributes in a way to the work that I do, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me and you were talking about this a little bit yesterday. And like I was saying to you, like I kind of feel technology for me is best when I either treat it like it's a tool or it's a toy.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I can find either of those in a thing, it makes me happy. Which is why I love my 16 Pro, compared to the Pro Max, because its size makes it feel more toy-like to me, because I can kind of just like grab it and throw it around, and like it's easy to use, and it makes it feel more like a toy than the Pro Max did, which feels like something more significant that I have to handle and deal with. So yeah, in your article, you linked to this thing called the Arc Pulse.
I've seen
What
it.
I
is
see
this?
these on Instagram all the time.
Yeah, same.
These things are mad. I get why you would want to go down this route, because it's basically they claim to give all of the protection of a case without a case. So it's like a two-piece thing, which is like a piece of metal that goes around the camera, kind of square,
Yeah.
and across to the corners on the top, and then a second piece which is just corner to corner. So it's like protecting the impact zones. I
just want to use the top one personally.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That would look. Yeah, that would look better. I've always found these things to be like a really interesting idea, but I just don't like the way it looks. Like I don't know, it's too jewelry-y, maybe.
It is.
It
is too. But I feel like the silver with the ultramarine phone, just the top, is gonna look extra nice.
Could look pretty
I think.
sick. Yeah. Because I get the thing of like, you obviously don't want to put a case of any kind on this phone, because that negates one of your main reasons for having the phone,
one.
right?
I have one, and I mean
Yeah.
it's a silicone case. It just completely, like you said, completely negates the entire design and the entire color. So yeah.
Man, they sell a 231-pound version of this made out of titanium.
Jeez.
Okay.
Would you want a 230-pound case for your phone for this year?
Why not?
Why
No, I just want the basic one. But like there's almost a month and a half of waiting times for orders placed today for the 16 Plus. They deliver in mid to late November.
At least this means they're doing the smart thing, though, which is they didn't start making them before the phone came out.
Yeah.
Right? Because something like this, the tolerances have to be perfect. Like it's a piece of metal that's wrapping around the phone. Like they have to do it right. But yeah, that is funny though.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, be careful with your phone.
But yeah, I think with this article, like I think I'm in an interesting place in terms of which Apple products I use. iPhone 16 Plus, and then on the other end, it's like iPad Pro, 11-inch, high-end model, like nano texture display, cellular. But it's like it's the thing, right? It's not because it's the best; it's because it's the nano texture. Like it's got that unique thing that I really love. But then at the same time, I'm using the AirPods 4, like the base model AirPods. And to give you another piece of follow-up, I stopped using the Series 10. I went back to the Ultra 1.
You did.
I did. Because, man, even with the battery health at 90%, so it's been going down, it's still like the Ultra is something else. Like, I was using the Series 10 and just having to charge it every day. I lasted less than a week with that watch, and so the Ultra. I'm gonna try and cling on to this first gen Ultra because I really don't care about the double tap or whatever is new in the Ultra 2. But it's getting old, and I can tell that the battery is not the same as it used to be. But yeah, I went back to the Ultra 1. So it's an interesting mix. Oh, and obviously I also have the decapitated MacBook Air,
Yeah, of course.
which will probably soon be replaced by a small Mac Mini, if they really do the Apple TV sized Mini. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I feel like I really like the Apple devices that I'm using now.
You're living your best life right now, and I respect that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm buying whatever I want, and I'm really enjoying the products that Apple released this year. Now the software is a different story, but the products are good. Yeah.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. So whether you're just starting out or you're managing a growing brand, you can stand out with a beautiful website engage with your audience, and sell anything: products, services, and even content. Squarespace has everything you need all in one place and all on your terms. Make the most of design intelligence from Squarespace. It combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. Design intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to their unique needs, and craft a bespoke digital identity to use across one's entire online presence. Squarespace payments make it the easiest way to manage your payments all in one place. Onboarding is fast and simple. Get started in just a few clicks and start receiving payments right away. Plus, give your customers more ways to pay by choosing from popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay, depending on where you're located. And with Squarespace invoicing, you can spend more time focusing on growing your business, invoice clients, and get paid for your services. This turns leads into clients and proposals, estimates, and contracts. It's all there. Plus, you can simplify your workflow and manage your service businesses all on one platform. I've been using Squarespace basically forever, well before the Relay days. It is my go-to move when I'm building or helping somebody with a website. So head on to squarespace.com and sign up for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/connected to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. That's squarespace.com/connected. When you decide to sign up, you get 10% off your first purchase to show your support for this, your favorite podcast. Our thanks to Squarespace for their support of the show and all of Relay.
So our campaign for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is wrapping up now. If you want to still make a donation, you can go to stjude.org/relay. It's going to be closing up at the end of this week. But we wanted to just say 1 million thank yous.
Yeah.
We passed $1 million raised this year, which is a truly incredible thing. We also have actually passed another goal, which is $4 million raised since we started the campaign 5 years ago. I am really struggling to comprehend this. It's something that comes in waves of like understanding and sinking in and then leaving again. It's an incredible thing that our community has done. I am so incredibly proud of what we have all done together as podcast hosts and as working with Allsac and with our incredible community, our listeners. This is one of the most united things that I felt achieving this together, especially for us achieving it in Relay's 10th year as well. This has always been a dream that maybe one day we could raise $1 million, but to have achieved it this year it's made a very special year even more special, and I'm so incredibly thankful. Probably not as thankful as Stephen, though.
We are both very thankful. Yeah,
we're both very, but I think you get a little cherry on the top. You know?
Sure. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just incredible. I was telling somebody today who is aware of our campaign, but not closely following it, and he asked how it was going. I was like, well, we raised over $1 million this year and $4 million lifetime, and we started this just 5 weeks ago, counting up to 3 million raised, which is the delta between that is absolutely wild. But yeah, it's incredible. And to me, what it says is that our community has embraced this in a way that we hoped would be possible in the beginning.
Yep.
Right. And what they did for our family, saving our son's life, is something they do every day for families all over the world. And that $1 million that our community has given is going to go pay for chemo and food in the cafeteria and stuff in research labs and flights for families to get in and out of Memphis for treatment and housing and on and on and on. We talked a lot about, in the podcast line in particular, that St. Jude cares for the whole family. And you can see how much money that takes. And to be able to hand $1 million over from the community to St. Jude is just, it's astonishing. So yes, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
and if it makes you feel better, it makes me even better. It makes me feel real great. Every year our community exceeds the expectations that everybody has. Like, we work with a bunch of incredible professionals, and every year you surprise them. So
Yep.
that always makes me happy.
Me too.
When the fundraising professionals we have are surprised by just how generous our community is. And so I love that very much, and it makes me feel very proud of what we've all done together once again. So thank you so much.
Switching gears out of that.
Well, this app has actually been very helpful for me during this time period, which is Croissant.
Croissant.
This is an app made by Ben McCarthy and Aaron Vay, and it is a cross-posting app. And so it allows you to cross-post across multiple social networks. Ben had told me about this idea a while ago, and we were chatting about it. I think we may have first spoke about it in London. Me and Ben took a train ride together from the Hackney Empire one day, and I think we may have spoken about it then, or it was not too long after that. And I had been frequently begging Ben for a test flight, and ended up being able to get one the day before the podcastathon. And I was like, Ben, please. I need this tomorrow. I need it. I can't be posting manually to all these social networks. Please help me. I've really enjoyed this app a lot. It's been very helpful for me during this period. It is just one of these apps that is delightfully designed, and that's what I like about it. It's got the right amount of flair, which is some, but not too much, right? And the visual design is very good. It allows you to post to Mastodon Threads and Blue Sky, and I've been using it for multiple Threads accounts and multiple Mastodon accounts. I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's a weird thing that we're in this situation again where we need something like this, but your co-host Brendan, who says so many smart things, Federico, I'm sure you're aware of that, but Brendan is a good thinker. Brandon mentioned, even if you're not cross-posting, this is. I was looking for an app like this when all of the Twitter, Mastodon stuff was kicking off, which is I'd want an app where I just post and don't have to engage.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to post, and I don't need to be in looking at reply mode or looking at timeline. And this app is also just good for that. Send things. And Ben has especially been very open online, talking about the things that they're looking to add to the app. It's iPhone only right now. They want to put it on other platforms. I really want it on my Mac, especially.
Yes.
I'll definitely take an iPad version if that's what they want to. But I'll take the iPhone version, honestly, on my Mac. I tried using it with what is that thing called where I can screen share to my iPhone? iPhone mirroring.
Mm-hmm.
It did not, it just was so upset about me trying to add images. This is not a bad thing. I think this is just that is wonky. I think it's fantastic. I will say, look, sometimes once a month I have to post something to Twitter, right? I'm still doing it. I don't want to do it anymore, and we're probably going to stop. But
you are?
I post new episodes of Cortex to the Cortex Twitter account.
Oh, okay. Not with your personal
Not
account.
my own. Not my own.
Okay.
So once a month, I'm logging onto Buffer, and I'm posting. And Buffer's getting real expensive, gang. Let me tell you, I pay so much money for one post a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get rid of that. And I just want them to add Twitter to this. I know I hate it. I don't use it. I don't ever want to log into it. That's the point. But the problem is it's complicated, API wise. But wouldn't it be amazing if I could post to everything I might ever want to post to from this one beautiful application? Maybe I just need to stop posting the new episodes of Cortex to Twitter. Maybe that's what I need to do. But I'm still doing it. There's a lot of people there. I don't use it, but there's people there, And so, what am I supposed to do about this? It's why do I post to anything,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a bit existential now. But anyway, Croissant is fantastic. If you post to any accounts, I recommend it.
Yeah, it's really good. And we should point out Ben's incredible thread on Mastodon and Threads that was full of bread jokes. They absolutely killed it. And didn't some people get a croissant in the mail?
Okay.
I didn't, and I'm a little
Okay,
upset.
so what would you have done with it, Stephen?
I got a 10-year-old who loves bread.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But I think that's probably the reason. So I sat down for coffee in the morning. Idina was making coffee. She made me a coffee, and she gave me a plate, and she said, "This is from Ben." And there was a croissant on the plate. And I'm like, what is happening? what is, I think actually her words were, I heard there's an app coming out today. And she gave it, I'm like, what is happening? She's like, this is from Ben. And I said again, what is happening? And yeah, so Ben had arranged for some people to receive croissants, and I was one of these people.
I don't take it personally, Ben. I'm just saying.
But you obviously do, right? Because when you say like, I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, adorable 10-year-old. No, they've killed it. This app is awesome, and it has just so many little touches as you would expect. It's great. I'm using it a bunch. I use it all through the campaign, and it does lead to a question, though. I think of like, if we want to talk about this briefly, our feelings on where things are in the social media world.
That's a good question.
Can I make an observation about one of the people on this call?
Okay.
I think Federico has really learned a place for some takes, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah.
He's threading it up. That's
he's good on Threads. I enjoy Federico on Threads. Federico on Threads is like, I got a take for you, and you're very good at it. You have a lot of viral thread posts. You're doing very good on Threads right now. I respect it.
Yeah, because I don't care anymore. Yeah, that's to put it in a way. Yes. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That I'm noticing that Threads can be really good for viral stuff, even though it doesn't necessarily translate to much of anything in terms of like, are there gonna be more people like? Of those thousands of people who see like today, I saw your thread got 50,000 views. Cool. Does that mean I'm getting 50,000 new members? No, it doesn't mean that. Like, I wish. But, if even 1% of those people over time, maybe 1% of those people starts following me and they're like, who's this Vitici guy, by the way? Let me see whatever they do at Mac Stories. Like, it's good for the future. It's a good investment for the future. It's very good at like this sort of like visual, like screenshots, screen recordings, photos, hot takes. Unfortunately, it comes and it shares a lot of the same traits as Twitter back in the day, which is to say, there are types of content that really work. I'm noticing on Threads. One of them is, unfortunately, complaining about stuff. That really works because it really fires up the people. The other thing is like tips, like teaching people how to do stuff, like hidden settings.
Why is nobody talking about this? Why does anybody? I don't know who needs to know this, but
yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that because it's the algorithm. Because it's a social network with an algorithm. You can't go viral on Mastodon. Like you can't. Like that's not how it works.
Obviously, Threads comes with the territory. You get a lot of awful people in your replies, but a viral post is the side effect is that it is an excellent tool to mute a bunch of annoying people that shouldn't be allowed to post online, and yet they do. So it's great for that. Mastodon is also excellent for me, but Mastodon is where like, on Mastodon I got my people. It's like. It's the Mac Stories readers, the club members. It's a place for the more sophisticated, readers. Like where I actually discover indie developers. Like it's the more Mastodon is the Mac Stories of social media in a way. It's like that's my people over there having serious conversations. You do get the occasional hater, but like to be a hater on Mastodon, you really gotta go out of your way to do that. Like, I mean, it's easier to be a hater on Threads than it is on the Dawn, as they say. So
Yeah, and it's more beneficial too, which is a
Yeah.
shame. It's a shame.
I enjoy both places for different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's kind of where I am. I don't know. I have tried to, and I want to do more. Like I think I've kind of felt a similar split to you, where I have more followers on Threads and I get more engagement on Threads, but Mastodon is where I'm like where I feel like my real audience is kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe the
yeah,
best
yeah.
way to put it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that to be the case. It's complicated, right? Like, but it feels like at least the type of stuff that I see on Mastodon is a little bit more like the typical content that I like. But I do like Threads too, though. Like, I actually do really like the Threads algorithm when it's serving me things that it thinks I'm interested in, not the engagement based stuff. Like, I get enough of that, and I feel like you can kind of tune the algorithm a bit.
Yeah, you can, but you still get some horrible people in your replies. I'm just going to read you a couple. This person, engagement bait detected. It's either engagement bait or you are just not very bright. So when I see this, I'll be like, okay, mute. And then you go back. You millennials are really a cursed generation.
Wow.
What is that in relation to?
You're just using it wrong. You're too slow and weird moves.
Oh my word.
Mute. Like, you get a bunch of these folks, and which is fine because they got to channel their whatever it is, anger, being annoyed, I don't know, somewhere. But see, these folks, they have no idea who I am. I just popped up in their home timeline and somehow I have annoyed them, which is okay. But I also want to say, like, the positive replies, at least so far, thankfully, outweigh the negatives, but it's very reminiscent of Twitter, where, like, it's not like a Mastodon where you get 1 or 2 negative replies. Here, if you have a viral post and you get, I don't know, 100 positive comments, you do get 20 to 25, 30 negative ones. Like, it's a much higher ratio than Mastodon.
Turns out Twitter wasn't really the problem, right? Like, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't like the service.
People are the problem.
Twitter is not a place; it's a people.
Toddlers have better puzzle-solving skills than you do.
Okay.
This is from I don't want to read the username. There's a bunch of these folks like this. It's
and this is in relation to something we're going to talk about later on in the show. Like these, I think these responses are all about issues you're having with the home screen, right?
Moving icons.
It's
tricky.
Toddlers can do it, Federico. I don't know why you can't.
Yeah,
toddlers can do it.
Dang millennials,
Mm-hmm.
There's this link that's been going around. John put it on Mac Stories called Forever Notes. Forever Notes with an asterisk in the middle.
This would do good on Threads.
Yes.
This does good on Threads.
I think that's where I came across it the first time.
Yeah, same here.
Interesting. I learned about it from one of my favorite websites, a little site called macstories.net. That's where I found out about it. One of my favorite writers, John Voorhees, he wrote about it. So.
Great writer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is that, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this. So are you guys familiar with the para productivity system?
The what?
What?
Oh, come on. PARA?
Nope.
No? Nobody?
Nope. It's like para productivity. It's like when you have a relationship to productivity, but productivity doesn't know you. Is that what that is?
The para method.
Come on, that was a good joke. Like this was that
if
was
you have
pretty
to
good.
say it's a good joke, Mike.
I didn't say it twice. that was the thing, is if you say it twice.
So the para method would be where basically you break up your productivity system in projects, areas, resources, and archive. That's PARA, para.
Okay.
So basically, Forever Notes, which I think is a really clever idea, they're trying to replicate what people do with PKM apps or Notion in Apple Notes for free. Obviously
this power thing. This is like Notion, right? Like this is
Yeah.
It's like all of these things.
Yeah,
Notion,
yeah.
Obsidian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all sort of coming from this creator, Tiago Forte, I want to say, who sort of is regarded as the inventor of this method, which has then been kind of applied to Notion, Obsidian, Rome. Some folks trying.
It's like GTD again, right? Like I'm not saying it's the same thing, but like the idea that like GTD was an idea that David Allen came up with, and then a bunch of things were built on that. And like this seems like someone came up with this idea, and now a bunch of tools and systems have been built on the back of that
I
idea.
believe the creator of the Pyro method, actually, Stephen, you're gonna love this, actually uses Evernote. Or used to use Evernote.
Everyone used to use Evernote.
Well, yeah. Anyway, the idea would be that the kind of like fancy dashboards that you've seen in Obsidian and Notion, for Evernote kind of wants to replicate that idea in Apple Notes, which I think is really fascinating. And it's something that, like, with all of these methods, I'm always fascinated and I want to replicate them myself, but I always feel weird about like actually straight up copying someone else's setup. So what I end up doing every time is I get inspired by these systems, but then I came up with my own. That's what I do. But at a high level, the idea would be that you create a central note, which in Notion and Obsidian, you would call a dashboard. Here in Forever Notes, they call a home note. And that home note basically has a bunch of links to other notes. That's the high level. You're using the Apple Notes feature of internal linking to have this central note where you link out to other places. And these other places can be projects. So like a project for me would be iOS 18 review. It's something that is self-contained, has a deadline, needs to happen. It's a standalone entity. Or you can link out to hubs. In the Obsidian world, and I'm sorry for getting so deep into these terms that I also kind of hate, but here we are. In the Obsidian world, people would call them mocks for MOC or maps of content. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But in Forever Notes, your mock would be what the creator of Forever Notes calls in plain English, a hub. So you have these hubs that can be, I don't know, family, it's for a better reference, what in OmniFocus and in Things you would call areas. That's sort of the idea. Hubs. So you have your family hub, you have your health hub, and in these hubs, those are like other notes that link out to individual notes. Like you have your
Notion
health hub.
Calls these like team spaces and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right?
kind of like that, right? So the idea would be that you can do all of this fancy stuff with the internal linking and the sub pages in Apple Notes, and taking advantage of the many features that Apple added over the years. Internal linking, highlights, collapsible sections, rich links. And I think it's very fascinating. I wrote in my iOS 18 review that I do believe Apple Notes the Notes app is the best app at the moment that Apple makes. And I stand by that. It's an incredible app that I'm using more and more for just personal notes. I do all my writing in Obsidian. Nothing's ever going to change that at this point. But Apple Notes for this sort of setup, I have been doing that myself, but not with this kind of structure. I always feel a little weird about sort of like following a strict structure, right? Like that, I have to use Forever Notes, and all of my notes need to be formatted in a very specific way.
Yeah.
But I still think it's fascinating, and I don't know. I kind of want to give it a try.
I want to see someone show me this, right? Like, because like I'm looking at the page and like I feel like I can only surface level understand what is actually happening here. Like, and I've even seen some of the videos, and for some reason it's like not fully clicking into my mind. But this seems to me,
I can show you mine. I'm gonna say.
I would love that actually. But this seems to me like building something like this in Apple Notes seems terrifyingly tenuous.
I think it's more slow than tenuous, because I think the system is pretty good. Like the internal linking is just as smart as Notion, for example. If you change the name of your note, the internal links will be renamed accordingly. It's just slow because Apple Notes doesn't have a template feature, for example. So all of those links and that metadata that you're adding at the top of the note, you gotta do it manually because there's no template functionality. So it's
like
yeah.
I see something like this and I find it really interesting, but I'm like, why don't you just use Notion? Right?
Because I like using Apple Notes. That's the thing.
I don't mean you specifically. I just mean like
Yeah,
just like a general thing, right? Like there are tools that do this stuff. Like maybe they just don't do it the way you want, which I kind of understand. But yeah, when I see things like this, it makes me nervous because I'm just like, something's going to happen and it's going to break this, and then you're kind of like out there on the sea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very intriguing. Very, very intriguing.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see it in action because I think I'm just struggling to get it.
I'm just over here using folders and subfolders like a plebeian.
Nice.
Nice. I guess the Steven system.
The Steven system. Yeah. It's folders, and then inside there, more folders.
Wow.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is a little bit like leaving your laptop unattended in the coffee shop when you run to the bathroom. Most of the time, you're probably fine, but that's a pretty big unnecessary risk. Why would you take it? When you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, etc., your online data isn't secure. Someone on the same network could gain access to your personal data, like logins, credit card details, and other things you wouldn't want in someone else's hands. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. There's loads of reasons to choose ExpressVPN over other options. It's super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past their encryption. And it's easy to use. Just fire up and click one button to get protected. And it's been rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. My favorite thing about it is that it's super fast. It does not slow your browsing down. You can stream on it, and it works across all of your devices. So secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/connected. That's expressvpn.com/connected, and you'll get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for their support of the show and all of Relay. iOS 18 has been out for a couple of weeks now, and things aren't going super great in some corners of things. We're going to start with this story from Zach Hall. Mike, what does Zach discover?
All right, so there is has been a bug. Maybe it's been fixed by now, but there was a bug a couple of weeks ago where if you shared an Apple Watch face with someone over iMessage, it would crash iMessages. Okay, sorry. You needed to share. So I would say share my Apple Watch face with Steven. If Steven double tapped on it and replied, you can reply to a message, this would crash messages.
Oh, okay.
And it would crash messages so bad that every time you open messages, it would crash messages. And the only way to fix this is to delete the conversation completely.
Yeah.
But the problem was, every time you open messages would crash. So, real bad. And I think, I expect by now this has been fixed. But this is an example of some of the funny and peculiar bugs that have been occurring as part of the iOS 18 cycle. But my favorite is one that Federico let me know about, one of his viral thread posts, which is about iPadOS 18.
Which doesn't exist anymore for the M4 iPad Pro. It's straight up gone. It was pulled a couple of days after it was released for the M4 iPad Pros. So the latest ones that came out in May, because it was bricking some iPads. Some M4 iPads got bricked by iPadOS 18, and to my knowledge, as of at least yesterday, because I haven't been so online today, but it was never re-released. It's just gone. And so I think it's very strange. I have, of course, iPadOS 18 on my iPad because I'm running the 18.1 beta, but the 18.0 release was pulled for the M4, never came back. Nobody knows what's happening. some people got their devices bricked by the update. I hope that Apple support took care of them. But yeah, it's a strange story, right? I mean, it's been what?
I had no idea about this. I did not know this was happening. And I mean, I will say that, like, I'm sure I saw it. I've kind of over time, I ignore the news on iOS Day because this always happens, right? Like, a device breaks, right? Or like some subset of devices break and they have to reissue iOS. This happens so often. So I guess I would have seen this and was just like, oh, you know, it happened. I didn't know that it then led to there is no iPadOS 18. Like, there just isn't an iPadOS 18. Like, they've pulled it and they've never released it.
Well, just for those models. Just for those models.
Just for the M4, sorry, yeah, for the M4 iPad Pro. My expectation is they're probably just waiting for 0.1 now, right? Like,
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
but it's still very peculiar.
Something must have gone horribly wrong in that release for the M4 iPad Pros. I just checked on Reddit. There's a thread in the iPadOS subreddit. As of last night, it was not out. iPadOS 18 for the M4, so was pulled. Never came back. It'll come back eventually, I hope. I mean, and then, of course, I joked on Threads that it's not like you would have noticed anyway that you were running iPadOS 18. Jeez. But there it is, yeah.
Man.
Well, you just sent us something, Stephen, that there is potentially a version of i18.0.1 coming out?
Yeah, I mean, the Mac Rumors article is basically like, it will be coming soon, and it will hopefully fix both of these issues we've talked about.
Oh, okay.
So far,
hopefully.
Okay, we'll see.
But it's been what? It's been 2 weeks since iOS 18 came out. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything else. It's still 18.0 running around out there.
Why is nobody talking about this?
Why is no one shipping software? You know?
Yeah, I have a weird bug. No, I'm on the 0.1 beta, right? So like that's worth noting, but this is just one of the strangest bugs that I've come across. So I have always had the camera app on my home screen, and I've been a defender of this because it gave me quick access to the camera and one-tap access to my photo library all in one app.
Sure.
But now I have camera control. I've gotten rid of it. I replaced it with Photos. So I put the Photos app. I got rid of the camera from my home screen and put the Photos app. And I did this on, like, I have multiple focus modes, and they have, a few of them have their own home screens, right? So I changed it out in all those places, like in my sleep home screen, my travel home screen, my regular home screen, and my weekend home screen that I use. Now, whenever my focus mode changes, it removes the Photos app from my home screen completely. And I have to add it. And this happens every time. So every time my home screen changes.
Wait, what?
Every time my home screen changes, the Photos app just is gone. It's just removed.
It's a little shy. Okay.
I'm having this because I switched between light mode and dark mode day and night because Federico talked me into that. And it's really good, actually. And when I switch into dark mode at night, a bunch of my icons disappear because I have the icons changed too. So like, I'll put.
So it's not just me.
I think I sent y'all a screenshot in iMessage. I'll put it in Discord. But it's of my second home screen, and it's like a bunch of holes are punched in it where apps are missing. But the labels are there. Do you have the label for Photos still? Do you know?
No, it's gone, and
wow.
the apps have reflowed. Which is also funny. It doesn't leave the gap.
Okay, that's not what I'm seeing. You're seeing a different thing.
It's straight up gone. Like, it's just gone. And I just tried it now. Like, I just set to my weekend focus mode. It's not there. It's just not there. And I don't understand what's happening. And I have to keep adding it every day, at least once, to a home screen. It's incredible.
So good. Some people in Discord are saying that they see it too, which is wild. Emma asked, why is it so broken? Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a really good question.
Also, we're at a point.
This is a beta.
It is a beta.
I am genuine. I'm on the beta, right? So like, I'm giving them some slack, but it's just funny. One thing I'm happy about though, on 18, the app library didn't have the kind of like frosted look behind it but on 18.1 it's back, which I'm very happy about because I found that quite disorientating in a way that I'm not sure why.
Oh, really?
I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's
look
for
at
me.
that. I've got an 18.0 phone here on my desk. Yeah, that's awful.
But it's not
I
frosted.
don't know why it looks so bad, but it just doesn't look right.
It
But
looks
on point
bad.
1, it's back to the way it used to look, which is having the
Good.
kind of frosted glass look.
It's good.
Now, what we were talking about earlier on that Federico was getting told that he was a toddler about is
Yeah.
you posted a video of like just how hard it still is to move icons on the home screen,
Yeah.
which is really weird. Like, I will admit, like to move them and keep spaces. I've not done this. I've not really played around with this because it's just not something that I need to do. I like how my home screen is, but you've wanted to kind of move them around, and you post a video where it's kind of showing that like they're just seemingly unnecessarily moving.
Yes.
Like if you want to move an icon, it tries to put something in its place, which
Yeah.
doesn't need to happen anymore because you're allowed to have gaps. It's weird.
Exactly. Especially when the selling point of iOS 18 is, and I checked apple.com again, they literally say, place your icons wherever you want. So like, but it seems that under the hood, the system is still kind of following the old grid layout. And so they're still doing the reflowing, the placing another icon in the spot that you just emptied. So there's still a grid underneath, and it just gets in the way. And the consensus seems to be that if you really do want to place your icons anywhere, the only method to do it so that you don't go crazy like I did last night is you got to create an empty page and start from scratch and place your icons one by one in the layout that you want. That is, and that's what I've done. Eventually, I just gave up and I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just create a new page and I'll drag the icons one by one exactly where I want them. Because if I try and edit this existing page, it's not gonna do it. Like it's not gonna do it. And it's not just a home screen. Control center is just as equally bad in terms of like you're trying to drag something and you're like, okay, I want to take this control and I want to drag it down in the left corner. And then as you do that, another control pops up and be like, hey, I guess I'll go up now. And it takes the spot of the previous control. It's like, no, just stay there. I just want to drag this one. And it doesn't do it. So I also want to say that for a minute this summer, it got better. There was a moment this summer where dragging things around the home screen was kind of perfect. And then it wasn't anymore. And it really seems like it was a person at Apple that came up with this new logic and it was great, but somehow that person got fired and we went back to the previous drag and drop logic. But
I think this is an example of my favorite phrase I've ever come up with, which is institutional one-personism, where there was somebody at Apple who's like, yeah, but like, what about the people that are going to be confused that the apps aren't moving on their own?
Yeah,
like there is this like fake person that is created that everybody's worried won't understand how to move their apps anymore. And so then they kind of go to this weird halfway where like
it's
you
a
can
weird
move
halfway.
them where you want, but not if they're already in place. And it's like, okay, so I can do it, but like that there is this fear that if they change it completely from the way that it used to work, that people aren't going to understand what to do. And I find that kind of stuff to be really peculiar. And like, I would be more willing to accept this if I had any indication that Apple did user testing. Like, because it may be genuinely that they put this thing in front of 1,000 people and they couldn't understand how to make their home screens work anymore. And so they kind of made this weird half step. But I'm not convinced that Apple does that kind of stuff.
But are we really sure that the automatic reflow is even good? Like, isn't it easier to explain to somebody, take this icon and place it whatever you want?
Yeah.
And nothing else happens.
I think so. Because you end up in a scenario where moving one icon, you have to move two icons.
Exactly. Like, it's
which
exactly
doesn't make any sense.
backwards.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like
No,
the
it doesn't.
easier solution would be just, take this icon, place it wherever you want. That's it. You don't, because with this method, you're introducing something else you need to worry about, which is I'm moving this icon, but other icons will also move. So, yeah.
While we're on this, I have another funny thing that I find. I feel bad. Sometimes I feel bad for software developers, and this is one of them. So, in Control Center, there is a type of action, I think, that is just called home, where you can create essentially by default, this like home control will just select a recommended set of home, like things in your home, right? Like this is the same as the widget on the home screen. But you can uncheck a toggle, says use recommended, and choose your own accessories, right?
Yeah, you can. That's what I do.
The problem is, if you do this, the layout order that you choose is divorced from reality. All right?
What?
Now,
what do you mean?
so I wanted to have the top two home controls in this list, right? Of the things that I've chosen rather than the recommended, to be, so here at the studio, I have a lamp. I have two lamps. I have a lamp in the lounge and a lamp on my desk, right? So naturally, you would assume if you want your first two options at the top of a list, that you would choose option 1 and option 2, right? So you go like 1, 2, and then when in a list, and then when you go to the actions, you would see the first one is on the left on the top row, and the first one is on the right on the top row, right? That makes sense? That's not how it works. I don't know why. So I'm going to give you an example, all right? What I want is for my top two rows to be lounge lamp, recording lamp, and then left radiator, right radiator, right? 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4.
Okay.
Top two rows.
Okay.
The way I've had to arrange this is lamp 1, radiator 1, lamp 2, radiator 2.
That sounds a little bit how you rearrange things in CarPlay, which is a grid, and you move them up and down a list on your iPhone and just hope
But
they end up in the right place.
it doesn't make sense. Like, what is it? What is the grid that it thinks is happening here?
I don't know.
Because that doesn't make any sense, because my grid is 2 by 5. To truly understand what I'm saying here, you have to try this out for yourself. Like, you go to the home action, you tap it, you turn off recommended and choose your actions. It's bewildering the way that you have to construct the list. It like doesn't make any sense. For me, the only way I've been able to get things where I want is I have to just keep moving things by one and seeing if it's ended up in the place that I like. It's incredible. It's a really truly mad bug that I love. But yeah, that's look, I understand what's going on here. I know what's going on here. It's been all hands on deck for Apple Intelligence. Like, that's what's happening this year.
Maybe AI could
But
fix your widget. I mean,
Maybe it could. But like, I try to be like even keel with this, where it's like I can have a little bit of sympathy, but also this company has infinite resources.
mhm.
But in this scenario this time, I do kind of feel a little bit more sympathy than I do in other years when they have weird bug stuff, where it's like they're trying their best out here, but everybody's being pulled in every possible direction. However, they have the ability to fix this.
Yeah. And maybe 1801 has taken a little more time to knock a bunch of this stuff out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, but these bugs that I'm talking about, they're still here in 0.1. So,
But so 18.0 and 18.1 are very similar. Like, during the beta process, bugs got fixed in both
Good point.
branches. And so
I would expect maybe things to be, some of this stuff to be fixed in it more. If I'm going to use 18.2,
maybe
it would be more likely to
Maybe.
be there. Maybe.
it's very
Or maybe
confusing.
it will just, stuff will be really broken for a long time.
Yeah. Welcome to Federico Nice Summer running these things.
Yeah.
Like it got weird. The last
Yeah.
thing I want to mention, watchOS 11, some people, including Dan, Morin, our friend at Clockwise, Apple Watches just stop telling time. They don't update the time until you tap on the screen, which is
Sure.
about the worst thing I can think of for an Apple Watch to do. This episode of Connected is made possible by KRCS, one of the oldest Apple premium resellers and your one-stop shop for all things Apple in the UK. The Mac is easy to love and even easier to own. And if you're one of our UK listeners, you can spread the cost of any Mac out over 6, 24, 36, or 48 months with Klarna and KRCS. That means you can buy the new M2 MacBook Air from just £22 per month. You can make the Mac truly yours and have the exact specification you want with pricing you won't find anywhere else. Or choose from popular in-stock models and spread the cost out with more affordable monthly payments. With free next working day delivery on in-stock items ordered before 3 p.m., there's never been a better way to get a Mac at KRCS, your local Apple experts. So get more information at krcs.co.uk/podcast or click the link in the show notes. Representative 9.9% APR, 18 plus, subject to approval, T&Cs apply. Please spend responsibly. Borrowing beyond your means could seriously affect your financial status. Ensure you can afford to make your repayments on time by the due date. Our thanks to KRCS for the support of the show.
So do you guys want to talk about glasses?
Always.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Obviously, I'm referring to the Meta Orion prototype, which as I don't know. I feel like it's been interesting to watch the reaction to Meta announcing the Orion prototype. I would, as I always do, I would urge connected listeners to also listen to the segment on Upgrade that you and Jason did about the perception of the Meta Orion prototype and what it means for the Vision Pro, what it doesn't mean for the Vision Pro, and what it means for Apple in general. I feel like it's okay. I guess I'm gonna share the hot take. I think Meta did the right thing in showing off the prototype, and I know it's a prototype, right? I know what that word means, and I know that it's not gonna be a release product, but I think people who really like Apple on the internet are getting too fixated on this idea that it's a prototype, that it's not something that it's going to ship, because they're not considering the consequence of sharing a prototype, which is the public perception.
Yep.
And that is something that is intangible, that you cannot buy, that you cannot explain. Right now, to the eyes of the people like
Yep.
mother who asked me about this because she saw them on TV, to the eyes of the people, Meta is further ahead than Apple, right? This is one of those cases where I know it's kind of silly and it's untrue, right? Because for all we know, Apple may be further ahead than Meta in their labs. We don't know.
It's not untrue. This is like a Pandora's box kind of situation.
Exactly.
Right?
But as a PR move, because this is a PR move, as a PR move, it's an excellent move, right?
Yep.
And to combine that, it's not just an announcement, to combine that with hands-on, right, with videos and interviews from other creators is just a masterstroke, in my opinion. And it's sort of the perfect follow-up to all the things that Zuckerberg has been saying over the past year about the Vision Pro and Meta's different approach with the Quest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, and obviously, I mean, the product itself, we all, I think we're all in agreement. Even the people who absolutely love the Vision Pro are all in agreement that this is the future, right? This is the kind of product that we're sort of speed running toward, is the glasses that can project an interface in front of your eyes. This is the thing. This is the goal. And it's, I will share the sentiment that Jason shared, that I thought this was going to be like 10 years from now. Now I think it's probably 4 to 5 years from now. It's a much more accelerated timeline than I thought. But I feel like the people who are poking fun at Meta and the people who are poking fun at other people who are excited about this are missing the big picture, which is it's a PR move, it's extremely clever, and it is the kind of PR move that sort of raises all Meta boats, in the sense that it creates the perception that Meta is further ahead, and it contributes to the bottom line of Meta saying, but in the meantime, look at our VR headsets, where we're also doing AR, and they're much cheaper than Apple. So with this combo, Meta painted a picture of
and
Apple
the glasses,
as
right?
and the glasses,
and like, also get ready for this.
Yes,
you know?
Meta is painting a picture of Apple as the company that is behind, and what they do have today is too expensive. That's my take.
No,
I think
it's good.
completely correct.
Yeah, it's good. I agree. I think it is fascinating how different these companies are, and like Facebook just skipped to the end of like, this is where this is going, and they basically defined the next decade of this category in one move. And Apple waits until they have something that is, they will let the industry move forward without them, and then they jump in, right? It's kind of their move with the iPod, the phone, the watch, maybe Vision Pro, maybe not Vision Pro. But Meta just is like, hey, no, this is where we're going. Obviously this is not the product, but this is what we think the product will be like. And it does make everything else instantly look old. The best pass through, I think Ben Thompson said this on Dithering, but the best pass through is like actually just seeing the world, right? Where you don't need the camera and the screens and everything between you and the outside world. And clearly that's where they want to get this to. And
yeah, I don't like that take from Ben.
Really?
No, because that is the assumption that Apple's pass-through is how they imagine this will always be. Like,
I don't
when
think
Apple creates glasses, they're not going to put screens on the glasses, right? Like that cover your eyes. Like, Apple's pass-through is great for the fact that there will probably always be some element of a VR headset. Yes, of course, but I don't think that it means that Apple was wrong with all of the efforts that they put into making great pass-through on the Vision Pro.
It's what they could do for now, but I think...
Yeah, but something like a Vision Pro will always have screens in front, because you can't... If there is still going to be a future, which I think it will, of an immersive environment, these glasses will never do that. That's not what they're for.
And maybe Ben is arguing that was a wrong move. I don't know. But it is like, if the end goal is not immersion, if the end goal is I want digital things interlaid with the actual world, then Orion is closer to that than the Vision Pro is.
But I think there are two end goals.
Maybe.
There is AR and VR. Like, I think that those are two separate products. Like, you can't watch a 3D movie in something like the Orion.
No, but Apple talks about AR. They don't. Apple doesn't like VR terminology, and so they're
right.
talking
But they
about
use
one
immersive.
thing. Yeah.
Right. But like, you can't have an immersive environment in something that you can see through. Like, that's
true.
You can't have immersion in that.
Yeah.
Like, there are two things, right?
Competition is good, it turns out, right? Like,
it's fantastic.
These are different ideas, and they're going about it in different ways. And maybe the answer is right. There will be distinct AR and VR products, and you can choose. Maybe there's something in the middle, or maybe one dies on the vine and the other takes over. Like, we just don't know.
Yeah, like Meta makes both types of product, right? They have the Quest, and they have the Ray-Bans, and also Orion in that category too. Like, they are two sets of products that they make. But yes, what they have done here is genius. Like, it's genius. And it also solves a big problem that Zuckerberg has, which is, what have you been doing with all that money?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, yay, spend more money, right? Because it's...
Yeah, because
if
now
you're an investor in Meta, this is what you want them to be doing.
Yeah, and you can use it as a bargain and chip. You can say, well, do you want me to keep working on this or
I need
not?
more money.
I mean, yeah. And I don't know. I just feel, in the meantime, I kind of want to wrap it up by saying that in the meantime, Meta is just there with the Ray-Bans, having an absolutely killer product, and they're making more versions. They are and I'm going to write about this before the end of the year, I promise. They are my accessory of the year. Like, it's, they're continuing to issue software updates. They're doing more Meta AI integrations, which I don't particularly care about, but other people will. They're teaming up with Spotify and other music services for better controls. Like, they're doing what I still think that Apple should do, which is be humble and release a product that is not really AR, but it's a wearable product that has cameras and that sort of acts as a cheap maybe not revolutionary, but very practical and very good looking sort of half step to get to that point, to get people used to the idea, oh, you're wearing glasses with batteries and speakers inside, right? I think it's really clever, and I really do wish that Apple changed their mind about this type of product. Yes, it's not gonna have UI in front of your eyes, but still, like, imagine this product with the quality of AirPods and the cameras that Apple can make, and the Siri integration and Apple Intelligence, of course. Yeah, I think I gotta be honest. I thought for a second this week, like, oh, maybe I should, kind of, I don't know, sell my Vision Pro and get a Meta Quest instead. I haven't done it. I'm not gonna do it.
You're gonna take a bath on it.
I'm not gonna do it.
I don't think it's worth getting a Quest. Like, I don't really like. Do you want to play a bunch of games? Like, if that's the reason to do it, do it. But like, their like productivity suite is nowhere near as good as Apple's. Like, if that's the thing that you care about or want or whatever, I don't know. I want to get a vibe check from you both on the translucent Meta Ray-Bans.
Amazing.
What do you think about them?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So good.
But here's the question I have. I also love the way they look, but it's like this weird thing where, like, isn't the good thing about them is they don't look like computer glasses?
Yeah, you gotta pull them. You gotta know how to pull it off, because like I don't. Yeah, I see what you mean. They are more in your face than yeah.
It's like they look really cool, but what I like about my Ray-Bans is they don't look like I'm wearing computer glasses.
Yeah, you gotta pull off the sort of vibe that maybe we don't have. Like you gotta have the sort of
cyberpunk.
Like,
You gotta
cyberpunk, or like oh, I'm like, or that other people sort of know you as a tech mogul. Maybe like, oh, he's a tech mogul.
Do you not think people know you as a tech mogul?
No. I don't.
Steven,
think
are you
do.
going to get these glasses at any point? Like, we both have them, right? As Federico wears them all day, which I think is incredible.
All day.
I wear them as my sunglasses just because, like, that's not the style of like eyeglasses I want. But do you have any interest in a pair of these sunglasses or glasses?
I mean, kind of, but I don't see myself jumping in. To be honest, I think I know myself well enough that I would have them and play with them for a couple weeks, and they would sit on the shelf.
But they're just your sunglasses.
Yeah, but you got
because like you don't have to do anything with them. But then when you want to take a picture, you can.
It's true. I don't know. Maybe if the translucent ones only come in the smaller size, and I have a basketball head, if they were in the larger size, I may have pulled the trigger on those.
I think they have a couple of sizes. I think Nilay Patel was wrong, or was like talking madness about that. But also the translucent ones are like twice the price.
Oh no,
they're way more expensive.
No, get the regular ones.
Yeah. And they have a bunch of colors and stuff. Like, and they have like, I think there's a semi-translucent one anyway. Like but then they made like another pair that does this thing. They're cool, man. Like, seriously, like, they're good. It's a good product.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think my wife would like them. I think she'd be freaked out by the camera thing.
But just don't tell her. Just don't tell her.
Don't tell her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think Mary would dig that. What was the thing that she didn't? Oh, she didn't like the Vision Pro, right? She
does not like the Vision Pro at all.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that she can't see my eyes, and she doesn't like the creepy eyes on the outside. Or
I don't know about Adina, but so Mary, Sylvia, Jennifer for John, none of them like the Vision Pro. So
Adina doesn't care. Like, it just this kind of stuff just doesn't bother her. Oh, I mean, also I never wear it around her anymore, right? It's my office. But when I was wearing it at first, like, she was with me when I got it. Like, these kinds of things, she doesn't at least communicate to me a particular Well, she didn't about this. When there's things she doesn't like about technology, I hear about it. This one, she didn't really have that kind of visceral reaction.
You just gotta ask her point blank, like, do you think I look dumb when I wear the Vision
I mean,
Pro?
she'll tell me that, yes. But like, I get the sense that Mary, Sylvia, and Jennifer offered that information without prompting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that didn't happen to me specifically.
Okay. All right. I may look at these. I may give these a shot. But they're
You should
just
try it.
they're just cameras, right? And calls and like audio stuff.
And
They're-
speakers.
cameras
They
and
are
calls.
great. They are great for calls, and they're great for like listening to a podcast instead of.
Yeah.
As a person who wears one AirPod,
Here we go.
Steven, I
Yeah.
think you're really gonna like them. For
These are perfect for your walks.
Yes. That's what I use
Absolutely
them.
perfect.
Yeah.
What I wish they did, and I think they will do this, I wish they were bone conduction and not speakers.
Same.
Like, I hope that they do that at some point. But like for you walking around your neighborhood, this is absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Maybe so. I'd get the transitions in that case then.
Yeah. Yeah, get the transitions. That's what I have. The transitions are fantastic. Case is super good. It is a very good product. It is like a debut of the year kind of product, right? In that way of like, they did this thing and they just, every part of it is executed perfectly.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I got the page open. Y'all may have talked me into a purchase.
Do it. Your glasses that you wear, your sunglasses, look like they have this they are a Wayfarer style
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
sunglasses. So you will enjoy this.
I'll report back.
Yeah, go buy them and then report back to us later because
In a month.
I'm taking a month off.
bye.
Bye, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
Thank you.
Yeah. Taking a month off. Y'all have both been very kind. All my other coworkers have been very kind in letting me do this. Nothing bad is going on. I just would like a break.
Please mention that again, because I think the default expectation is that something's going on. Nothing is going on.
Nothing is going on. I put this in the blog post. No one is sick. There's no secret plot to like take over Relay while I'm gone.
How would you do that while you're gone? That's what I want to know.
No, like take it against me. Like you've pushed me to sabbatical, and then like I come back and John owns my half of the company.
You don't know. Like I didn't tell you to take it, but maybe a plot has formed. You know?
No, but also from his perspective, though, a month off would mean that he will have a lot of time to hang out, I don't know, at the bank or with lawyers.
That's
do
also true.
something.
That is also true.
Taking over.
There are two plots. There are no plots now, but maybe there will be two plots.
Maybe. But
coming up.
But no, the two of you and David Sparks and Underscore and everybody have all been very supportive of this. It's time for a break. So I'm going to be gone starting Friday. And I'll be back in early November. This is not in the blog post, but I'll say it here. Next week, I have to call in to report for jury duty selection. If I end up being put on a jury during my sabbatical will last longer because that is not a vacation. But that's what I'm going to be for a few weeks.
It's a vacation, but it's not one anyone wants to take.
It's not the one I have planned.
I love jury duty as a concept. I would take it so seriously if it were a thing here. Like I would absolutely like.
This is why you would never be selected.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pass the.
You're like the you're like the meme with the maps on the wall and the red string. It's like, no, he did it.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be like,
Steven,
he's going to enjoy this too much.
Yeah.
Can we, while you're gone, as a celebration of you being gone, can we change the music of Connected to hit song by American singer Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone?
I don't think we can afford the rights to that.
When he comes back, right? That's how we present the episode when Steven returns. Hey, Steven, since you've been gone. And then we sing the show notes at him.
That's good. It's good. I'm
important information for this show. I think there is very likely there will be an Apple event.
Yes.
And when Steven told me he was doing this, I said to him, "You're not allowed to come back." I don't know how you were feeling, but I just wanted to make it clear that like you got to take the time if you're taking the time.
Yeah.
Which means if there's an Apple event, you're not allowed to come back for the Apple event.
Yes. And so I have named One True John to play for me if there's an event. Okay. John, I had a conversation. John agreed. In Discord today, someone didn't think that followed the Triple J rules, but sabbatical is not the same as death. And so I picked my successor in the game.
If anything, we could create a new rule for sabbaticals, which is just that you pick.
You pick. Yeah, we may.
We have a death rule and we have a sabbatical rule. Sabbatical rule is you can pick.
Yeah. If I don't come back from sabbatical, then the Triple J rules take over. So yeah, thank you all. And I'll be back in early November.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
I hope you find something to do.
I'm sure I will. And some days
Use
I
those
won't have
glasses.
anything to do, which is also good.
Yeah.
I meant something
Something
fun
else.
to do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to pressure wash my driveway at some point.
That sounds fun.
It is fun. It's very rewarding.
I'm a little nervous for your wife, if I'm honest.
What do you mean?
I think there's going to be a lot of like kind of following her around. You
Mm.
know?
Yeah, too much of you just doing nothing.
Well, she's
Like,
yeah.
hey, Mary, what you doing? What you doing?
yeah.
What's going on?
She is back at work. She's teaching, so she's not
But
here during
still.
the day. But in the
But
afternoons,
that means you'll be really bored in the daytime, and then when she comes home, you just will be
Maybe.
like, "Hey, so how's it going?"
Let's go. How's your day?
Poor
She's
cat. The cat's gonna be terrorized.
yeah. She's like, please go back to work.
I'll just say, like, I think people might be like, "Why is he doing this?" And I'm going to speak for Steven, whether he likes it or not. Right? We've been running this company for 10 years, and Steven has not really ever really taken many holiday breaks, or very few. This is just like a great time to be like, all right, we got 10 years in.
Yeah,
Let me take some of that accumulated holiday.
that's right. That's what HR said I could do.
Yeah, aren't you technically HR?
Maybe.
It's like a real good conversation in a mirror.
Yeah. Hey, Steven, what do you think? That's great.
Take as much as you need.
Yeah. And don't worry about it. So yeah, it was a good time to do it. 10 years old, the end of the St. Jude campaign. When we planned this, we did not know, there'd be $1 million, but that's a nice cherry on top of all of this.
Mhm.
And going to have some downtime, going to do some stuff around the house, going to get some books read. If you are a member, Connected Pro or any other show on the network, I'm going to be on Spotlight. We're recording it on Friday and talking about the St. Jude campaign and about this. So if you're in the Discord, ask Spotlight questions and maybe we'll get to them.
So Federico and I are taking over the show. We're going to bring in some guests.
Yeah.
We already have next week's guest lined up.
Yes.
How do you know?
I'm in Notion. His name is just in the
Oh,
document.
get out there. You're not allowed to look in there.
After
You're not allowed to
today,
be in those pages. No,
After-
those pages are not for you.
it's just on the table.
I don't care. You can't look. You have
Okay.
to put a piece of paper over the screen whenever you open Notion, so you're not allowed to look. They're not for you. They're for
Don't
us.
scroll. Oh no, don't scroll.
They're not for you. They're for us. They're our pages.
Our pages. Okay. Well, I think that does it for this week. If you want to follow us elsewhere on the internet, you can do that. Federico is the editor-in-chief of macstories.net. Definitely go check out his article about the 16 Plus. It's great. And the photos, I got to say this, Federico, your photo game on your stories has really made a jump recently.
Oh, thank you.
It really
Were they all
good.
taken on iPhones?
Yeah, as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
You got good natural light, I think.
You do.
Yeah.
In the
That
place,
really,
right?
it really helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. That blue color it's so good.
It doesn't look real.
It's like too saturated somehow, maybe.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about it. It looks fake. I love it.
It is good. You can find Federico on Mastodon and Threads, where he's just threatening up a storm at Viticci, Viticci. Mike can be found on a bunch of shows across the network, and you can, of course, find his excellent work at Cortex Brand. Maybe,
And Steven can't be found anywhere. Don't even look for him.
I can't be found
Right?
anywhere.
Leave
can't be
Steven
anywhere.
alone for
Leave
a
him
month.
alone, all right? If you want Steven, he's in his living room. And if you can't get
Jeez.
there, then you're not allowed him. Leave our Steven alone.
Well, until next month, guys, say goodbye.
Well,
I
we're
need
here
you.
next week. So, Federico, I'll see you next week. All right? Steven, we'll see you in a month.
All right, bye, y'all.